Hi, girl. It's the ladies from Read, Watch, and Wine here yet again, bringing you a book to movie adaptation.
Really?
Today's book to movie adaptation is The Hunt, The Most Dangerous Game, The Most Dangerous Game, The Cuckoos in the Cuckoo's Nest. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Surviving the Game, too, I think.
Yes, I'm Surviving the Game.
Surviving the Game.
Well, the book is by, the original short story is by Richard
Very short
Connell.
story.
And that was written in 1932 and then re-adapted or something like that in 1924. Mm-hmm. Something like that. I don't know. Originally,
I feel like that's the shortest book we've read, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was like a short story in like 1924 and then like redone in 1932 or something. I don't know.
Wonderful.
But shortest.
Yeah.
We are drinking Kung Fu Girl. It's a Riesling. It's from Washington State. It's really good. I like it. I don't have much I don't like. But it's, to me, it's not super sweet, so I like it. It still has a good Riesling flavor to it. But
it's Kung Fu Girl, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So now we can get into as many book to movie adaptations.
All right, so we've got the 1932 movie, right?
Yes, we do.
That's the original movie, same title, Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah.
And then we've got the 1994 movie, Surviving the Game. And then we've got the 2020 movie, The Hunt, or The Hunted. What is it?
The Hunt. You got it right.
The Hunt. And then we've also got the 2020 short series called The Most Dangerous Game.
Correct.
Did a lot of watching during this quarantine, huh?
That's to say.
I just want to note that we actually all saw The Hunt in the movies right before the quarantine was like on the lockdown. Like we literally saw it that weekend, and then they were like, "Oh, Monday by 5:00, everybody stay home." So
shut down. Shut it down.
Last movie that we've seen in the theater.
And I was there that Monday at 1.
I went on Sunday, and I was like, "Oh God, we just made it."
Yeah, that's right. God, it seems like such a long time ago.
I know.
Did it do?
So many days and days and days have gone by.
So what did you guys think of the book?
I actually enjoyed the book. I thought it was a good story, and I don't know if it has to do with the fact that it was so short, and I was really in need of a really short story to read because I think we just finished The Outsiders or some kind of stupid long Stephen King thing.
Hey, watch it,
sorry.
Tell us how you really feel.
So anyway, I thought it was a good story. I mean, we were going through a lot of these older books, like with Emma, and I was having a hard time struggling with understanding what was going on. But I didn't feel like I had that problem with this story, even though it was written, so long ago.
It was good, but it took me a while to like kind of grasp what was going on. I felt like they were doing so much overhead talking about the scenario that I was missing like the actual bulk of the story. And it was a short story, so I had to kind of like backtrack a little bit to make sure I wasn't missing things. So
actually, I did it twice. I went through it twice.
3 times. And then I was like, did I miss something?
Me. First time,
go back, read it again.
I missed the thing. So it was like closing in on like the end of it, and I'm like, wait, I missed everything.
Right.
Anyway, all the way back. So I'm glad I wasn't the only one. That made me feel a little better about myself. Yeah. But I did enjoy it once it finally was like processing in my head because it was so short. I'm so used to these long like build-ups to stories where you're listening or reading a book for like days and days. Mm-hmm. So I did like it once I actually got my brain to pay attention.
Right. Well, and then also didn't really take a lot of analytical thinking to get to this book. So you think a lot. So that probably you were like, wait a minute.
All right, so let's talk about the first adaptation. which was the oldest one from 1932.
Yeah.
Is that the one that was black and white like King Kong movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were like in some castle in like
Yeah.
the dungeon. And then they were in like a jungle, and I was just like,
Weird.
the movies were like back then.
Yeah. The
Like
graphics or
vines
like
that you see, like rubber vines that you would see in Michael's hanging
Yeah.
down.
right.
Come suck your blood.
It did seem like Frankenstein was like the butler, right?
Yeah.
And then how
I
about
mean-
their motions? How about their motions?
Just like typecast, they were like,
Oh, yes.
shot. Oh my
The
god.
big-eyed man that was the lead character. He was like this whole time.
The whole time.
I was like, close them eyes.
That's so funny.
I think I
I
sent
just,
like a big eye emoji after I watched it. Remember I sent it to you guys and I was like, okay, can I just say what's going on?
When I was looking up like the casting for it, I as you all know, my brain just starts thinking about things. The cast or like the characters were listed only by their first names, and like now we have first and last names for all of our characters and movies, and you know them by heart as a person. But back then it was like Bob, Eve, Martin. And so I'm just like, what? Is that like a time period thing? So I started Googling movies between like the 20s and 30s.
Here we go.
Yes. Only had first names.
Well, you also realize there was only one race in any of the movies.
I mean,
so, and there was only a few groups or handful of people even being included in the movie. So they knew who Bob was. Bob was Bob from the last movie.
Basically.
There was no Shamika or
They had the Bobs
last
and
name.
they had, the
Her
monkeys.
name, whatever. But I was just like, why did you only give them like one name? Inside rabbit hole scenario. But yeah, so that time people just had a first name. I mean, not in real life, but in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that.
Thanks, Lynn. We appreciate all that great
Take my
info.
bow.
Always
Okay,
do.
so any other comments on that 1932 one?
I kind of felt like out of all the adaptations to this book, this is the closest.
I literally went to that. Like, that was like my first note. Was
Yeah.
like, it follows
What
the
else
book.
am I saying champagne?
What?
What?
What'd she say?
I don't know.
Little observation champagne.
I had not that many notes for it, but like
Me either.
my 3 notes were good imagination, because I mean everything between like the castle and like the dungeon and the jungle, good imagination. It followed the book well, and why was everything so over dramatic? Those are my 3 notes.
And that lady
swear.
scream one more freaking time. I was like, let her scream one more time. One more time, and she, ah! Dude.
Well, that scream reminded me of that other old movie we watched with that
Yes.
ridiculous
Talk
scream.
about that. They could be nightmares. If I ever have to see that movie again, I swear to you.
And
So
the-
I
drunk-
agree with you. I think this was the better of the adaptations, as it relates to lining up with the book. But they added the woman in here and her sort of surviving the jungle with him.
Yeah.
That
little
wasn't in the
Tarzan
book, and
scene.
I didn't understand the purpose of that.
I
Right.
thought maybe they were going to push her off a cliff because that would have given some, dramatics to it. But she just kept hanging on. She just kept hanging on.
And falling
It was
and just
screams.
Right.
Ah!
Yeah, I didn't like that too. That was one of my notes too. Like they add extra characters that was irrelevant, to use Rhea's word.
like this had to be a damsel in distress in
Right.
there, and I'm like,
It was
why?
that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to be dramatic and scream for no reason throughout like the whole movie.
Basically.
Had to do it. I had to do that for champagne. Okay, so to the 1994 version with iced tea.
Ice.
So I guess let me just say this. The next 3 that we're going to talk about, well, actually 3 of the 4 that we're going to talk about, I appreciated the fact that the main character that was being haunted didn't do it by choice, which was similar to the book. But the most recent one, the TV series, like it was his choice to do it, but all the rest of them, and Surviving the Game, The Most Dangerous Game, and then even the 2020 Hunted, nobody knew that that's
And
what they
the
were
one.
getting They didn't sign up for that.
Right.
So I like that those particular plots followed the book.
Yeah, I had that. I noticed that as well. I had that written down also. That the last one, he was given a choice and he decided to be hunted, which is the difference between.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Okay.
I actually liked that twist on it to not be like a cookie cutter right in line with all the rest of them. And then I know we're going to talk more about the last one, but at the end, how they kind of switched it around where like he was actually recruited, but didn't know he was recruited. He was kind of like mentally tricked into it. So it was by choice. But
yeah, you're right. But it wasn't by choice.
Choice. Yeah,
kind of
right.
What they were doing, and I'm like, all right, because the rest of them were like, they weren't by choice. It was all like, had to be following him to it. And to the last one, I was like, why would you like sign up for that? And then I realized he was hunted. The hunted was already being hunted and recruited. So
from the beginning, from the all the way back.
Right. The hunted started at the recruitment stage.
So I like how they put that little change.
Well, I also think that it also, really, I know we're going to get into each one of them, but I also think in 2020, you'd have to do that because in 2020, people are just not that stupid. You know what I mean? So you had to put some kind of a twist on it to actually get a 2020 person up in that camp.
So the Ice-T version from 1994, I forgot all about that Ice-T look with the dreads. You know, I was like, oh, that's Ice-T. But I love The Rock. What's his name? The guy who plays The Rock. Charles Dutton. I actually love the cast in that movie.
I did too.
His storyline of like being the homeless guy and then, you know, losing his best friend and his dog and, you know, just kind of feeling at a loss. And that's how he got trapped into it. I like that version, even though it's swayed a little.
Stuck really well with like the name, surviving the game. And so he wasn't, of course, signed up for the game because he was tricked into it. But like it really stuck with like that was the whole premise of the whole movie was him surviving the game. And what kind of star-studded cast was this? I mean, Gary Busey was in it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I was so excited as I was watching it. I was just like, oh, look at him. Look at Gary Busey popping up in here.
Everybody looking all young.
Right?
I actually, I like this version. I'm not a huge fan of Ice-T. Never have been. I don't know what it is. But he did a good job in making me feel like I was part of this game, like scared to death for him. You know what I'm saying? So he was so scared, but I like he thought his way out of it, like all of them did, you know. So I like seeing him in this role, though.
You're right, because like he literally kept saying, "Think." So I liked how it was real, as in like I'd be freaking out too, like running around, just running, and not being like, all right, I know I'm being hunted. What am I gonna do to get myself out of the situation? So a few times he was doing, you know, normal things that you would do. Not like I would smoke a cigarette, but he was stopping and smoking a cigarette and be like, wait, let me just use this to my advantage because they'll be able to smell it. So I like how he showed that like immediate like thought process that anybody has. Let me just run. And then you're like, oh wait, let me think.
Right. Exactly.
Well, the one thing I didn't get about it was why were they hunting as a group? Like if one person needed to win to kill him, why are they hunting as a group?
Exactly.
To me, that's how in all of them they're like punks, right? Except for the first and the original where it's just the one man hunting. But all the rest of them, it's sort of like, oh, it's got to be a group of us to hunt one person.
Right.
Even just like they go on their own paths to like hunt them or like track them. But in surviving the game, they literally went out on their 4-wheelers and like dirt bikes and was like going as a pack to hunt. And I was just like, well, then who gets to claim the shot and the kill? Right. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're going to hunt them, then be that, like, that trapper, that hunter, tracker, all that, and be on your own. But they kept, like, going around with dirt bikes. And then at that, even if you were going on dirt bikes, he could hear that.
Right.
Exactly.
So, I mean, there's no, like, element of surprise here.
Right. I agree.
But how about the trophy room with the heads? Like, that was crazy.
That was beyond.
What kind of Walking Dead thing is that?
Right.
2020 version of The Hunt?
Yes.
Talk about star-studded cast.
Talk about
Hilary Swank was
my
God. I was like, what you been doing since you finished?
That cast was awesome.
Even
though, like, the fine love of my life was killed in 2 seconds, but
you know, what made this movie amazing to me is I literally declared this once I was leaving the movie theater. One of the best movies of this year so far for me. Because
Really?
yes, only because you don't usually see you see a star-studded cast, but you definitely don't see them killed within the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Oh, the dude from This Is Us you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, who are you
Oh, when I
talking
was saying the
about?
love of my life.
Yeah.
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 Like, who got killed in the beginning? I forgot his name. I didn't even write down the cast for his name, but everybody watches This Is Us, so they know who I'm talking about.
Right. And Emma, I think her name was Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it. I mean, it was. I love this movie. You know, I thought.
I was thrown off by the like comedy behind it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like for me, bit like dry sense of humor right up my alley. So I was just like, wait, is it supposed to be like sadistically funny? Because I'm finding it funny, or am I just like that a-hole? I find random things funny.
Unless I am too, because I was in that joint dying, especially when the girl fell in the hole.
Yeah, she's like, help me out. And when she fell back in the hole, I was done.
She was like, give it a gun then. You pee. Shoot me.
That was crazy. And then the scene on the boxcar where the guy was thinking like he was with the people who were immigrants.
God.
Like that was hilarious. And he's like
when they put the grenade down his pants. I was like, they put the ball with the balls. Get it?
The ball with the balls.
But then, like, literally that whole scene of him, like, fighting and, like, he was literally like, hey, you know, run, because, like, I'm going to kill you. Which was surprising enough that he was one of the people hunting. And then to have that whole blow-up scene with the grenade in the pants, I was just like...
Right. Yeah, one of my favorite or funniest parts were two. When she first went after the first three people went to the gas station and was set up and killed and all that by the old people. And when she came in, a snowball came in and knew right away. She was like, in Arkansas, your cigarettes cost $10, bitch.
Right? She was so upset. Like, you think you gonna get me?
Right.
Do your research.
Right.
She was crazy though. She had them facial expressions like.
My favorite part or thing that she did was when they were in the car after like the little like refugee place and then headed to like the new whatever, and the old guy Roy or whatever, or Roger or whatever his name was in the back seat as they were driving. And when she like was like listening to him talk and she like lifted her feet up and she turned and kicked him. Oh, I was done. She was. I'd be like, dog, what are you doing with your feet? All of a sudden she just like raised her feet up, turned around.
Yo,
it's slow motion.
Random though, because she was like,
exactly.
She screwed it down first. She was like,
Anybody else would have been like, "What are you doing?" But they're all like into their characters and making sure like they're through with it. And she's like, "Not right."
And she was like, "Yeah, sorry, you picked the wrong person. That ain't me." When they were doing the profiles, and she picked the wrong person.
But I was really happy to see the end of that movie. Sorry, go ahead, Champagne.
I was just saying, I love her. I love this lady.
Yeah, I love that whole like fight scene at the end.
Yes.
For one, the athleticism between the both of them was amazing. But then for two, I mean, to have like the last person standing as a woman, like as like the hunter, was kind of like, you know. But then really to have them like keep pausing and be like, bruh, I'm tired, and then get up there fighting again, I loved it.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I love that airplane scene, that last scene where she was just like, your boss ain't coming, or whatever it was she said. She was like, do you have a problem with this?
You get some champagne in the bottle? Yeah, go ahead and open that up.
Yeah. It's funny because I thought at the end, or close to the end, I love the message behind how Hilary Swank picked the people that she was going after based on social media, all the maybe fake news or whatever, and be careful what you say about people, you know, kind of thing or whatever. Or at least that's what I took as a message.
Yeah, that one guy like hunted like giraffes or something like that and was like killing them or something like that. And she was like an social media like activist basically behind the scenes. Like these people kind of deserve to die a little bit anyway.
Well, how about when the black guy came up on the screen? They're like, no, haven't they been through enough?
You know, but that was mind immediately went to, is that your way of keeping us out the movie? You know, like
I went to being
really?
like, they always die first, so
right.
so let them survive. And then also being like, you know what? People are always being hunted as black people and killed, so let's just not touch on there. Let's hunt some white folks right now. It's how
Right.
That's
But then they
true.
spent the whole movie talking about how much they appreciate and love black people.
Oh my god, white people, they're the worst.
Okay.
So, question for you guys. So, do you think that Don was in on it the whole time?
Who's Don?
The one, it's the old guy. He came out later, after everybody dispersed once the hunt started, and it was him and Snowball together for a while, up until almost the end.
The
And
military guy?
Uh-huh.
You talking about the guy that was in the military?
I'm assuming, I don't know. It was a white guy, gray hair, old guy.
The one he ended up killing him.
She ended up killing him. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
yes, because of I didn't at first, and then I thought about the similarities between different movies, and then I thought about the 2020 The Most Dangerous Game, like the short series, and how Luger or whatever, the best friend. Luger, but yeah, or Loger, but Looger, how they were saying that he was in on it. So I was like, oh, okay, well maybe in the hunt, Don was like in on it too, or they were like trying to make it some way there was a similarity between the two of those. Because I was like, I picked it up too.
But Luger wasn't really in on it.
Correct, but they were using him as a mind game. So I think with the main character with Snowball, she was like he wasn't in on it, but she was thinking that he was because of all like the suspicions for everybody. Because like she's like, I can't trust anybody now.
Right.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All
right, so I guess to the last one.
Well.
Oh, she had one more thought.
It was one funny.
Oh, okay.
Hilarious part in this movie when Snowball finally, the fight scene with Snowball and Hilary Swank, and Hilary Swank made up all these rules like, listen, no guns, whatever the case is. So while they're in the midst of fighting, Snowball runs upstairs, and Hilary Swank grabs a gun. And I remember her saying, "You got a fucking gun, you cheating bitch." Oh, I could not stop laughing. She was so serious. It was so funny. Cheating in the midst of what? Really?
Being hunted.
Like, there's like no rules in this mess. Okay, she's a
but
cheater.
there are rules. There are rules. That's the problem.
Right.
Oh, crazy rules, right. All right, so now to the latest version under Quick Bites or QB. QB?
I said Quick Bites is definitely a food thing, but you know,
No,
whatever.
Quick Bites is the name of it.
Oh, I thought it was
Quibi is short for Quick
It's
Bites.
short for Quick Bites.
Oh.
Pretty clever and food too.
Yeah. Anyways,
Like Quick Bites movies, whatever.
this one was I had a hard time like finding like the casting for some reason. Like I don't know why when I was looking for like all the different dead presidents as they were, I was trying to list them and I just could not find their names for anything.
Oh,
But
right.
It was a billion. It
Carlos.
seemed like it was a billion people.
But I still
hold
love
on,
the cast
killer.
on this. I mean, I feel like it was a little star-studded also. I feel like there's a theme with this movie line that they get good cast.
well, I'm a hands down fan of Christoph Waltz. So anything he's in, I'm gonna watch it. And then to have Liam Hemsworth running and being all like chiseled.
Ooh,
Yep.
Good Lord, yeah.
Like done and done.
Done and done. Check.
Yeah, I like this version. It's interesting. I read about it, and someone, Ray and Lynn, are going to be really happy about this. But one of the reviewers of this movie said that they feel like it was mimicking a Stephen King story called Running Man. I never heard of Running Man. I think it's called Running Man, but it's a Stephen King story, and they said it seemed to be a play on that, like it was an adaptation of that slightly. So that might be something we have to read in the
Never
future.
get away, never get away.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting, this version of it, because of the city versus woods aspect.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was more interesting, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more scary because you really don't know who versus where.
Right.
And that could be happening right now. Like, if you think about it, like, I mean, in like a crime-ridden city like Detroit, I mean, you never know. Like, first of all, it's just really, and then like these people running and hiding, and it's like, wait, is this really going on? So I feel like it was more relatable to like the everyday person versus being kidnapped and taken to the middle of the woods.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
and then he had the one scene where he was on the subway, and I guess, was it the subway? I think he didn't realize the one guy was one of the killers. He's like, oh, hell. Right. Like, I thought you were just a random subway rider, and you find out that the guy was...
the LBJ guy who was Lyndon B. Johnson, he was the first one on the bus, and he was like, oh, is the seat taken? And he was all like, you know, should I be wary of this guy? Should I not? You know what, just in case I'm getting off. And to turn out, he all the way back at the end of the movie, he comes up, and I was like, it was you.
But I picked him only because the story of my life is I'm sitting by myself, and it's 4,000 chairs in front of me, and you just want to sit beside me.
And he has all these seats walking back and sat next to him. I was like, yep.
Exactly.
So now you got terminology you can use.
Let
Social distancing.
Right. Let me off. Bus driver, stop. Thank you. Getting off this ride.
But what I was really shocked by, I mean, I liked how the people were like sporadically around, like how Kennedy was on like the ferry boat. Mm-hmm. But what I really liked was that after he started to put the pieces together, that the doctors were in on it.
Yeah.
Like how they over or misdiagnosed him, and the medicine they gave him was like aspirin. So like they even had this like network of people, because I mean, companies are corrupt. Everybody knows
that's just
corrupt.
Scary, the amount of people that were in on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it wasn't just Sellers who was like, you know, hunting him or recruiting him. It was the police were in on it, and the doctors were in on it. The hospital had the D wing in on it. Like, just everybody was in on it. So who can you trust?
Exactly.
So what's really interesting, I until it came out, the whole police wasn't something that I thought about. But in the beginning, as soon as he started talking to him about illness, taking it, and how often does it, you know, it started off like him talking about how he was telling him how it comes and goes. And then they showed the hospital scene, and I was just like, wait a minute. I think they didn't set him up. So in the beginning, I was waiting for that cliff because I was like, they freaking set him up. But
awesome.
all the rest of the people...
the
rest of the people, I did not know. But it's something in the back of my mind triggered. They freaking setting his butt up.
But the only thing I missed or didn't understand is how did he get the headaches in order to even go to the hospital?
Remember, so that's what I was thinking too, is that he actually was having headaches, but they were just like migraines and like seasonal or something like that is what I was thinking. And they took that. Yeah, like the stress was giving him migraines, and they took that and was like, oh, since he's already having migraines, then let's just tell me it's cancer.
Which is why he only was prescribed like ibuprofen or something.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So that's what I was thinking, that it was more like, you know, well, since this guy has a migraine, let's give him cancer too.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That was kind of cool.
I did not.
Clever.
I didn't think anything about that hospital in the beginning. Like, for me, throughout the entire series, I'm thinking, oh, this guy's going to die, and he just really wants to take care of his family before he leaves. I had no idea.
I was really shocked by, well, first I was shocked by the priest.
Yeah, that guy.
That got me.
I was like, what is happening?
And, well, I kind of, like, picked it up, because I was like, why does it keep pushing and prodding and being like, confess. So maybe I was thinking that, like, maybe the priest knows about the situation, and he's trying to actually help him. Mm-hmm. But then, after he said it for, like, the 15th time, I was like,
once he followed him out of the confessional and kept asking, I was like, okay, dude, like, run.
Is it about the iron gates? The iron gates. I was like...
To me, when he kept questioning him, it took me back to think it really wasn't him, because I was like, they didn't necessarily say, like, what would he have gotten out of it if he had confessed? Because that would have been, he broke the rules. No,
it would have been a lifetime of hunting. He couldn't tell anybody about it. If he told anybody, then it would be a lifetime of being hunted. It never ended.
Yeah. It was like a breach of contract.
The only thing I connected with that lifetime was okay. That's why he kept doing it.
So
Okay.
as soon as he was
got
like,
his butt though,
I
I was like,
get
get him.
game is on for life until you die.
I just don't understand why he didn't kill that man when he was in the church. Like, why did you even let him get free again?
Right. Especially after he told you he's coming after you again.
And sure enough, he showed back up on that motorcycle, which I didn't even see how he got from the motorcycle, like almost being squeezed to the median, and the next thing he knows in the back seat. I was like, how'd you even get there, you ninja?
Right. Right. Priest ninja.
Right.
Priest kill a ninja.
Ninja.
Ah, ninja.
And
At first, I was like, I don't get it, right?
yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, I was just like, there she goes drinking again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that too.
I mean, we have to chalk it up to
That
something.
too.
Another one that shocked me was the lady on the cruise. For me personally, I just did not suspect her. Because he got a ticket, he stole a ticket to get on the boat and everything. I'm like, okay, so
Yeah,
it was the furthest from my mind. And then she was like, well, I guess you would be thirsty, Dodge. He was like,
When she said the buffet is served at a certain time, I knew it. I was like, set up, and you getting ready to go get caught. But I'm just like, for real, your whole leg catches on fire and you still going.
right, like it ain't nothing.
That's a ninja. Pop, 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 pop.
She was fighting somebody though.
Yeah, she
That
was.
was a bad bee.
Yeah, she was. Oh my God! And what about the one in the suit? Yo, he's too cool for school.
Oh,
so.
the one that had the stuff
Classical music. Yeah.
He's psycho for real.
Brushing his
Real
hair.
psycho.
Yeah, he real psycho. That's the one you
And
don't
then,
want
like, as soon as the sun came up, he was like, "Oh, congratulations!" I'm like,
to help you up.
180. Went from like, okay, you're good. Go
And
home.
I'm like, like, I would have been just like,
And when he ended up in the drug dealer's house, like, listen, when this will go off, y'all gonna be in some trouble.
he tried to warn them.
like, yeah, homie, you gonna be giving them money. Don't kill them all, please.
That scene was cracking me up. He's like, I keep trying to tell you, like, just let me go so it saves your lives. And they was like, man,
Like
white man in the ghetto.
Yeah.
About to hold you for ransom. He's like,
Right? He was like, drugs? Trying to sell? Like, I got bigger problems,
right? He was like, all right, forget it. Let me just sit back and wait.
basically.
No enough. That little knock thing.
10. That stupid timer. 10, 9, 8. I was so sick of that freaking timer.
Oh, I know.
Well, it's funny because at first he was like running, trying to like get his location to change, and then eventually he was just like, all right, 50
Yeah.
seconds up. Where they at?
Right.
Come fight.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I really enjoyed that movie. I mean, I don't feel like it was a great adaptation because it was so different, but I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was entertaining. With like I said, I like the city aspect of it. It was a different. It was a change.
Yeah.
I did like it, but yeah, not an adaptation.
Exactly.
So I guess since we talked about so many, it will be hard to get into casting, but I personally love the casting in all of these movies.
Yeah.
I was amazed how you like continuously through all these different adaptations have good casting.
Yeah. Yeah, the casting.
And then they're so different, you know.
So y'all ready to rate this?
Yeah.
Or rate all of them? I guess it's sort of a combined rating.
Yeah.
So I'll start. I just think if we throw them all into a basket, I guess I'm going to give them a half glass because it was really just that first one that kind of mirrored the book as it relates to an adaptation. But I like the movies.
I agree. Like the first one, I would give a full glass, and then the rest of them I'd give like a sip because they weren't really an adaptation. It was kind of like a derivative of. So it kind of balances out to a half glass.
I agree. Also, definitely half a glass. I enjoyed all the movies, but like you said, only one was a real adaptation. So
You
half
enjoyed
glass.
that 1932 movie?
No. But I mean, it was a full glass for that particular movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. Whatever.
Thank you.
Whatever.
Wasn't rare.
Whatever.
So I agree. I give it the same. I give it a half glass.
All right. So I guess we're all on the same page, but doesn't get a full glass. We're still going
If you guys have some time in the pandemic, or we're all staying home, literally watch all of these adaptations and tell us what you think.
Hey,
You got time.
Oh, yeah, we would
you got
love to
time.
think
We
about
got
them all.
time now.
Right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Right, you got time.
And then the plug for, what did you say, QB or Quibi or whatever, you get 14 days free, so you get to listen. You can go ahead and
Quibi.
watch it.
Quick bites, Quibi.
Yeah. All right. See you guys next time. Follow us on Read Watch Watch on Instagram.
Facebook, Twitter,
Follow
and
us.
YouTube.
I'll get my internet together next week. Oh. Ooh, I need to refill. Can I get a refill?
Oh my gosh. Bye.